Hello friends and greetings for the day. Welcome back to another tutorial on ISTQB Advanced Level Test Management Certification. We are in Chapter 3 talking about managing the test team and continuing ahead with our first segment, that is the test team itself. And today we shall be particularly moving into the next subsegment, that is 3.1.2, Analyze Required Test Team Member Skills, and would be trying to understand how exactly these skills can be measured for a team member and how it can be considered for making a particular selection. As a part of our previous tutorial, we discussed already that there are four major segments or categories of competencies which a manager looks forward to, being a part of professional, methodological, and social as well as personal. So the same four competencies is being considered once again with a deeper dive, that what exactly we look forward to as a part of these four categories to shortlist a candidate for a team member. So generally, a manager is someone who's responsible to build the team for the testing within the organization or for a particular project. And they are also particularly responsible to hire the most relevant and most representable candidate for the team. Of course, the team dynamic does not rely on hiring the same set of skills from all the team members. We may not be able to hire the best candidate ever being a manager. So we know that no matter how much ever we try to interview different candidates, we will never have the perfect match. So that's where we look forward to have a balance of different competencies within the organization. But there are some of the competencies which are supposed to be very common across the team. And sometimes you would feel that when you're working in a particular organization with particular team members. You would see that everyone has the same way of talking, same kind of collaboration, same kind of competencies. And that is where you can appreciate a particular test manager, that they have taken extra care, not only for the technical and methodological, but also for the personal and social competencies. And that's where it becomes very important for someone to be worried about that what competencies and what parameter under each competency should be taken into account. To get started, the very first thing we are talking about is, of course, the professional and methodological competencies. So for testing, the focus is on the test skills which are required for the test task, and below are some of the examples. Of course, we know that when it comes to the professional and methodological, it is more about what a tester is responsible to do in a day-to-day work. So of course, we are talking about test planning, which requires conceptual knowledge for developing a test strategy. Monitoring and control requires project management, skills for managing all the test tasks. Again, analysis requires analytical skills in analyzing the test basis and product risk. Same way, design requires skills in using the test techniques to design the test cases. And also, of course, designing the required environment or preparing the data. Then implementation requires the selection of test, their technical expertise for the test script programming, and setting up the test environment. Same way, execution requires technical expertise to execute the automated tests, performing exploratory testing, and evaluating the test results and marking them pass or fail. And finally, the test completion requires the ability to communicate project outcomes and personal responsibilities for decisions being made. So put together, if you notice here, all these are related to our test process. One way we have started right from the test planning, going through entire test process, and at the end we are talking about completion. But in a nutshell, we are trying to highlight that what are the key skills which are falling into this particular competency, that is being professional and methodological. Like methodological is more from the process point of view, whereas the professional is more about the key skills, what a person technically should have in order to implement those activities. So as a manager, we certainly require all these competencies, and respective to the management role, that is the planning, monitoring and control, and completion. And the other ones, which is analysis, design, execution, and implementation, are for the test members. Do not forget, what you have already covered in foundation may not be repeated again here. So we are not telling you which of the skills are for the manager and which of the skills are for the member skills. Though the topic is about member skill, you need to understand and correlate right from your fundamental understanding that some of the skills are talking about the manager and some skills are talking about the member skills. So that's how you should be considering every single topic with collaboration to that of your foundation knowledge in order to apply that when you're learning here at the advanced level. Further to add here, of course, the next segment to add here is to certainly talk about some of the other professional competencies. So different test types and test levels do require different skills. So it is very important for us to know that different levels are functional and non-functional. And at the same time, we do talk about white box, black box. So of course, different professional skills are required by different type of testers. So if you're a black box tester, you must know how to apply black box test techniques. If you're a white box tester, you're responsible for unit testing and must know about statement testing, decision testing, etc. So that is where we are referring to that sometimes particular levels do require different skill set to be there with the test engineer. Also, to add, in addition, the program context provides valuable information about the required professional competencies, which include the system domain requires business expertise in the applications area such as information technology, the automotive industry, or the gambling industry. Of course, your project may be related to a particular industry or domain. Thus, it requires you to have that professional understanding that how this product would work with respect to that of the domain and industry. So some of the examples have been given to you, like if your product is related to banking, having the knowledge of banking domain would be of great help. Same way if you're working in telecom, you're working in automotive, you're working in gambling industry, gaming industry, they're all distinct from each other. Further to add here, of course, the software and system architecture and technologies used in the project require, for example, technical expertise in programming languages, interface technology, and security vulnerabilities. So again, the demand from the professional competency could also have many other things to be contained and captured as a part of this competency. And finally, to discuss, the SDLC do require, for example, knowledge about the test levels, the testing roles, and specific test techniques, which certainly means that it's not necessary that if you are responsible to do a particular level, you have no idea what other levels are all about. So being a test engineer yourself and being a manager managing a team of test engineers, you are responsible to see that the test engineers understand what otherwise happens in the entire life cycle of testing. So that is where it plays a very vital role. On the other hand, if you further continue, we are talking about the remaining competencies. Of course, the social competency, as we have discussed earlier, it is more about the collaboration, communication, and interacting with other stakeholders. So in the context of testing, social competency enables the test team members to behave appropriately in relationship with other team members and to achieve the test objectives. In practice, it includes communication, cooperation, and conflict resolution skills. The conflict resolution skill is very important for a test engineer. The reason is we are the bearer of the bad news. Whenever a test fails, we bring a defect out of it, and we are someone who is letting the author of the code know that their code is not working, and we are presenting them a defect. So we may certainly expect some sort of conflicts happening among us, and we should be very, very confident and positive in terms of handling this conflict resolution. So we must be as positive as possible and as collaborative as possible to let them feel that we are not here to let you know that we are pointing out your mistakes. We are rather letting you know that we have to improve this particular piece of code, right? Also, to add, software development and software testing are typically done by different members or different group of people who contribute their tasks through communications. Communication skills, the ability to work in the team, and ability to resolve conflict are required for the project success. However, the required level of social skills may differ depending on the project context. For example, agile software development may require higher demands on social skills than document-centric sequential development models as well as off-site testing. So we do understand that when it comes to traditional models, we do not have face-to-face working and collaborating workspace. But when it comes to agile, they may have a different demand. So point being made is if you are a test manager, you need to consider SDLC also into account while shortlisting a candidate for your team or for your project. Because if you are working on agile methodologies, you may need some extra social competence to be there in the candidate compared to that of sequential development model, right? And that's where we can come to the last topic, which is of course to talk about personal competence. The effectiveness and efficiency of test team members also depend on their ability and willingness to develop in themselves and their skills and their attitudes. For example, working in a self-organized agile team may require a higher level of self-management and discipline from all the team members, while a test manager of a hierarchical test team, for example, needs to be able to delegate work. So if you see again a comparison between the traditional and the agile methodologies being done with respect to the personal competency, being a test manager, your competency in terms of traditional models would be more from the perspective of delegating the work. You should be able to assign work to the people, and then you should know who will be able to do what in what time, who's the right person to do that job, etc. But when it comes to agile methodology, given that test managers are generally external to the team, so the team should be self-organized and self-motivated. That means they should know what exactly to pick up next if they are done with the work which they were actually doing, and they can pick up the next work from the board. So the team should have the capability. So hiring the candidates would consider these factors into account, that are they self-organized and self-motivated. They may not have a boss to control them. They may not have a boss to delegate them a work. That's how the agile works differently from sequential. And one last line to talk about, a high degree of reliability and resilience is often required, particularly in the time-critical projects. In addition, willingness to help, to learn, and openness to changes are important in a change process in all SDLC model. Considering that, no matter you're following traditional model or agile, as a part of the personal competence, it is important that every individual thinks about growing over a period of time. Technical excellence is the key to success. So teams should understand what areas we need to improve ourselves, what competencies or technical skills I should possess at this point of time to work on a particular aspect or particular work which is assigned to them. So any individual should be capable of that, should be looking forward to it, and work according to that. And that's where it puts together to understand how these competences play a vital role when building up a team altogether. So that's all from this particular tutorial, team. Should you have anything else, feel free to comment below. I'm always there to address your queries and answer them well. Till then, keep learning, keep exploring, keep understanding the context. Thanks for watching the video, team, and happy learning.